hours and watch some of the best lectures available all in one place. You don't have to go all over the internet to find these great rabbis. So I want to encourage you to continue to support the Torah Learning Channel as you have. We want this service to be free, but it also takes finances to continue to operate this programming and to be able to make it a great success. So take time to donate today to the Torah Learning Channel. And also we want to thank Beyond the Matrix for allowing us to be a sponsor on Israel News Talk Radio of Beyond the Matrix Talk Show. So the next time that you are watching a session on the Torah Learning Channel that really strikes your neshama, your soul, please share it with your friends and your family and make Torah Learning Channel the #1 choice for you to go to for your weekly Torah learning. Until next time, shalom.
Okay, welcome to the beginning of year 4. And what we decided to do this time is we're going to go through a review of everything that happened during the last 3 years. And we'll do that in 1 hour, hopefully. Okay, now, by way of introduction, there is no person sitting here today who does not have some sort of a barrier, some sort of a mountain that they've got to climb. Either a financial obstacle, a psychological obstacle, an emotional obstacle, some sort of physical obstacle. Every single person here is experiencing, to some degree, some sort of a crisis in their life, which it seems like it's impossible to get out of. And the question is, do we just make peace with these mountains that surround us, or is there another way? Is there another path? The approach that we're learning together is an approach that was put forth by the Mashgiach, the spiritual supervisor of the Mir Yeshiva in Poland, Rabbi Yerucham Levovitz. And Rabbi Yerucham Levovitz gave one class that went on for about 2 years. And during that one class that went on for about 2 years, he gave it every single day for about 2 years, he explained that a person is given a choice in life. They can live within nature, or they can soar beyond. And if they want to soar beyond, there's a technology, there's a path, there's a tool that was handed down to the Jews at Mount Sinai. And that tool is a tool which enables you to levitate, to go beyond the mountains, to lift yourself up above the obstacles. And then he proceeded to list off exactly how that system works. And that's the system that we're reviewing right now. Today we're going to try to go through the 10 initial points in his essays, in his book. Rabbi Yerucham starts off and he says like this. He says that there's a scene in the Torah in which Jacob goes to confront his brother Esav, his evil brother Esav. And the Torah goes into great detail about how he took precautions to ensure that he would survive this confrontation. He prayed, he prepared immense gifts, and the gifts were prepared with extraordinary care to and attention to the packaging. He sent sheep and livestock to his brother Esav to try to impress him. And the oral tradition describes how he spread the sheep out in waves, calculating out the curvature of the earth, so the distance that Esav would be standing. It would all blur into one massive sea of apparent sheep. And in this way make an immense impression. This was Madison Avenue at its best. So he prayed, he prepared these gifts, and he also prepared for war. In case everything didn't work out, he was ready with the arms so that he could actually fight back and perhaps triumph against his brother if his brother decided that he wanted to attack. Rabbi Yerucham quotes Nachmanides, the Ramban, saying, why is it that Yaakov did all these things? After all, Jacob was a prophet, and he had been told by God that he was going to be the father of a great nation. 12 tribes would descend from him. Eventually they would become millions and millions of people. They would inhabit the world. They'd be a light unto the nations. He had to survive. It was a prophecy. He was going to survive. So he was going to survive then why do you have to do all these preparations? And Nachmanides says, because we have a principle, you cannot depend on a miracle. Okay, now, that's the setup. Why did Jacob make all these efforts? You can't depend on a miracle. Reb Rucham Levavitz stands up and he says, Nachmanides, what are you talking about? What miracle? Here you have Jacob, who's a very nice person, and he's articulate, and he's sincere, the height of sincerity. And he approaches his brother and says, my brother, I love you. I just want to be your ally. Let's work together. I will never attack you. I will never have a conflict with you. I will always be supportive of you. Reb Rucham asks, if you have two brothers who had a fight, is it a miracle if they get together a few hours before Yom HaKippurim and one says, I'm really sorry, I apologize, and the other one says, you know what, is that a miracle if he says, I forgive you, let's get it together? That's a miracle? What kind of a miracle do you need here? Is it a miracle if you have, he used the example, that there's a thief who breaks into a house and he wants this, and then the owner of the house suddenly shows up and he puts a gun to his head and he says, I'm going to kill you, I'm going to take it. And the owner of the house says, please, I have children. Please don't kill me. Is it a miracle if the robber has mercy on this person and doesn't kill him? I mean, after all, we all believe people change. People change. So fine, he came to do something bad, but he changed. He decided to do something nice, and he's going to let the man go. Would it be a miracle if Esav decided to forgive his brother Jacob, let it go, and they would just become friends? Is it a miracle? And Reb Rucham Levavitz drops a bomb. He says, you know what? Yeah. It's a miracle if a selfish, cruel person who's only interested in what makes his life comfortable, his whole aspiration is to acquire wealth, power, honor, that he decides to be sweet. That's a miracle. Why? People cannot change. You are who you are. You will never be different. The guts of a human being are in place forever. They are permanent. Therefore, if they changed, it would be a miracle. Rucham Levavitz starts off his book saying, you want to change? Impossible. It will never happen. You are who you are, who you are. For you to change, it would require a miracle. And then Rucham Levavitz says, thank God we believe in miracles. And he says, you want a miracle? I'll show you exactly how to do it. He goes on, he makes one last point in this regard. He says, there are big miracles and there are small miracles. So what are we going to learn how to do? We're going to learn how to perform a big miracle or a small miracle, and what's the difference? So he says, Jacob couldn't depend on a miracle and therefore had to make all these efforts, because it would be a miracle if Jacob's brother Esav became sweet. For a person to change, that's an immense miracle, and Jacob wasn't willing to depend on that. However, Rucham Levavitz points out that we have stories about Yaakov, Jacob, when he was traveling in Israel, and he would get to the Jordan River, and he would go to cross the Jordan River, his socks would never get wet. He would walk into the Jordan, and he counted on the fact that every time he crossed the Jordan, it would split like the Red Sea. And he never worried to take off his socks. He never had to worry his shoes were going to get a little damp. Jacob depended and counted on and was 100% certain of constant little miracles like the Red Sea splitting. The Red Sea splitting, that's no big deal. For a human being to change, oh my goodness. Why? The more closeness in the physical world is measured by inches. Closeness in the spiritual world is measured by similarity. The more similar two things are, the more spiritually close they are. The one creature on planet Earth that is most similar to God is the human being. We are created, B'Tselem Elohim, we were created in God's image. There's no creature that's anywhere near as much like God as we are. God's most obvious character trait is his permanence. He is who he is. He never changes. Therefore, a human being so close to God, is the most permanent of all creatures. A tree can change. Dogs and cats, no problem. Yeah? Human beings that are so much like God, because they're so much like God, they're very permanent. For a human being to change would require an immense miracle. That's the kind of miracle that we're going to learn to perform. And once you have the ability to change yourself,